Welcome to another episode. I'm just doing the final touches here of setting up the security on my Google Cloud so that I can actually get my Terraform stuff running against it. And I'll show you actually what I do because I'm going to nuke this stuff. This is my key. You can see I'm deleting it. The way you get a key for setting up your connection with Terraform is through this. So this is just another peripheral one. This isn't actually the one that I'm using today either. But I just want you to see how to do this because sometimes it's not immediately intuitive. Anyway, you download it. Let's go look at that folder. And then you take that and you put it, I needed that open, let's see here. You take that and you put it in a secret directory. And what I do is I do one at the same level as all the stuff at the root level. So this doesn't get checked into your repo or anything like that. So let's hear function F2, rename. There we go. It's just account.json. So that's kind of the default name for this. This is the security file to use as a service account in GCP to be able to do anything. So now I'm going to move that off screen and basically not use that one. The one I'm actually using is going to be a different one that is now automatically added through some scripts that I just ran so that you didn't actually see any of the actual secret keys. Haha, tricky like that. So let's get started. With an active key out there, we can now start to get to work. But first things first, let's actually make sure that the key is actually active, right? Oh, I didn't even show you the scene. Damn it. Anyway, so all that secret stuff was secret anyway. So I basically went in here, went to IAM, and IAM, there's service accounts, and then I set up a key for Builder Frank here, and that is the key that I am using to build this stuff right now. Now in Terraform, let's just make a directory and call this, I don't know, cloud, goo cloud. Move into that. Now let's see here. I'm pulling up chat real quick. Make sure everything as is should be. There we go. All right. So nothing's in here. We want to add a .getignore file because we will put this in a repo eventually. We want to add a connections.tf file. Let's add a main.tf file. What else do we need? Let's do a readme.md. And then, I don't know, whatever else, we'll get that going in just a second. So I'm going to launch code now. Code, as well as most things, has HashiCorp configuration language plugins and makes it super nice to read this stuff. So like you can see, it's already tagged these as Terraform files. Nothing in them yet. In the getignore, I'm going to go ahead and add my things that I know I won't want in here. .terraform. And that's about it for now. So .ida is for IntelliJ, which I'll eventually start using here in a minute. DSStore is the junk file in macOS. And .terraform is where Terraform will download all the plugins and stuff like that. But you want the plugins per machine that you're running Terraform from, not a secondary thing or whatnot, right? So got all that stuff up. Let's see here. I'm going to transition so you can see the full screen again. Those are good. Let's go to connections. This is going to be a provider for Google. And credentials. And you see as I type, I don't really get anything in code up front, which is fine. I know file, what was it? It was account.json that I called it. So I have a lot of this resource stuff memorized at this point. I've done it so many times. But generally speaking, you get color coding in Visual Studio Code, but you really don't get solid autocomplete except with something like IntelliJ. It does a little bit more introspection. The project is going to be my Thrashing code project. And then the region is US West 1. I like to put everything in the west because that is the data center that is in the Dalles, just east of Portland, Oregon, by about, 40, 50 miles. So it gives us good connections up here in Seattle and, of course, in Portland. And if you're in the Dalles, wow, you probably get serious connection speeds. So anyway, I got that. Now let's pull up the terminal here and see what version of Terraform I have. Oh, wow. I'm all up to date. I'm not used to that. I usually work against so many machines that somehow, some way, there's always the need to update it. And the easiest way I do it, update, is do a which Terraform, shows me the path, and then I just bounce right into that path and literally overwrite that executable there. So you can do it just like home, Hadron, applications, Terraform. There we go, pull it up. And the executables there, usually I'll have the zip files from where I've gone and downloaded the latest version here so I can have the last X number of versions. I've never actually had to go back, but it always seems good to keep previous versions just to be able to roll back, just in case you need to. It doesn't hurt. It's just, like 90 megabytes or something like that. So not really the biggest deal. All right, but enough of that. Let's see here. What do we got here? We got the 3 files. Oh yeah, now I want to do Terraform plan. Oh yeah, Terraform init to get the dependency, which is the provider for Google. Pulls that down. Now we do a Terraform plan. All right, no changes. Infrastructure is up to date. So we know configuration is right, et cetera, et cetera. Also, let's do a Terraform format. See, it straightened it up, put 2 character spaces in there or 2 white spaces instead of a full tab, and lined up all the equal signs. It makes it a little more readable. Now let's do Terraform plan again. Oh yeah, I just did that, so that's all good. Now I want to set up a network. So the connections are good. A lot of the time I break this out to individual files, but since this is just the main one here, I'm going to just start from just one file and work from there. When it gets big, then I'll break it out or figure out whatever way I want to organize it. So resource, Google, compute, network. Let's call it dev network. And then it needs a name, which we'll call development. I'll fully spell out this development. Network primary. And then auto create sub networks, which is just false. I think that's it. So I'm just going to actually do a Terraform plan and see what it tells me. Oh, look at there. Cool. Okay. Let's actually do a Terraform apply and get that in there. Yes, I want to build that network. So that's going to be pretty useless without any subnetworks or anything, but I'll add those next. I just wanted to make sure that I've got my formatting and everything right and that it's actually working against the cloud. I like to confirm a lot, kind of self-continuous integration ongoing. All right, so that's cool. You got that. I need a sub network. But I'm going to actually close this and open up. Oh, oops, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do, give me a second. I don't have the executable in here. I'm just loading up IntelliJ because I want that level of autocomplete instead of the stuff that code gives me, which is nice, but it's not quite all the way there, at least not that I know of. If anybody has any tips on digging up autocomplete that's a little bit more full-featured, I'm all ears. Let's see here. There we go. So I'm going to open the project, codes, and then I called it cloud something, right? Goo Cloud, that's what I called it. Open that. There we go. All right, now I'm going to go back in here and let's actually, don't really need this terminal anymore because we can just go full IntelliJ here. So if I go in here, oops, navigator, tools, where is, I've completely forgotten where it's at. It's view and then tool windows and then terminal. That's what I want. So now I have a terminal in here. It's basically the same terminal except it's the terminal that's running in the session of the IDE. It's important to note that because as if you've watched some of my other streams, you've noted that there's the user session, and then there's the system session, and whenever the JetBrains IntelliJ or Rider or whatever loads up, it doesn't load the user session, which can be a serious pain in the ass. So make sure you have the one you want, and the environment variables that you need, etc. So like in here, if I did echo something local user var that was loaded from bash rc or something, it's not going to load it up. All right, but enough of that. We have our stuff here. We have main. We need to create a subnetwork now. The path toward that is a resource. And then Google, check that out. See, this is why I'm loving some IntelliJ. And it also works with JetBrains. The other one, the WebStorm, Golang does it. You can pull in the plugin and all this stuff works. It's pretty great. Subnetwork. And then I'll call this one dev sub east 1. And then let's have a indent with 2 spaces. And then resource. Google compute subnetwork. Oh, look at there. See, it even puts the defaults in there for you. So dev sub west 1. All right. So I'm going to actually copy these up here. And then we'll go with, let's go with the name first, actually. We'll call it development and subnetwork, or just subnet. And east 1. And the network is, we have to reference it back to the parent network that it's going to go in. So that's going to be the compute network. Then dev, which is the name of the actual resource from the Terraform perspective, and then self-link it. And that should work for that one. And this one, we're going to do the same thing. The name here is development subnet west 1. And then, I don't know, let's hear 10.1.zz. What should I do? I'm going to go with 16. And then we'll just go with that 10.2.z.z. Oops, dot 16. So there's our CIDR ranges. And then let's add another resource for our prod network, right? So we'll need compute network, boom. Then Just call it prod network. You know, real original this morning. Nothing fancy pants or anything. Name, production, network, primary. Actually, let's take that off. Let's take this off. I don't know why I put primary on it. There's not going to be a secondary dev network. I mean, if you have one of those, sure, add that, but I don't really need that on my name. False. And then let's create a resource around the Google subnetworks here. Let's see, what did I had to? I don't know what I did to make those properties pop up a second ago. Figure that out in a second, I guess. So let's go with prod sub east 1 also. And then we'll go with IP CIDR range of, let's go with 10.3.z.z.16 or /16. And then the name of production, subnet east 1, and then network is going to be the Google network, prod network, self-link that sucker. All right, so right now, let's go ahead and set up another one. Put that in West 1 too. Self-link. Oh, and then I'll need to change this to, I don't know, just number it. Doesn't really matter right now. I'll come back and fiddle with that. Maybe talk about it more a little bit later. All right, and then let's also, while I'm at it, we'll add a variables.tf file, and we'll add a Terraform.tf vars, like so. All right. Not really going to put anything in there just yet, but I know very, very shortly I will have some stuff in there. Let's plan that. See if I've messed up anything. What did I? Oh. Too many periods in your dots. All right, that looks like a good plan. Yep, 6 to add, 1 to destroy. So in this situation, since I created that network and then it's going to have to create subnetworks and I've changed the name of it, it's actually going to destroy that original network that I created when I do a Terraform apply. All right, there we go. And all those networks are getting built. So let's see here. I'm going to pull up the browser here in a second. I'm just looking for it. What did I do with it? Console. There we go. So now that those are built, if you go out to, oops, that's the wrong thing. Here, and you go to Compute Engine. Oh, not Compute Engine. I mean, if you go to VPC Networks, you should be able to see everything. There's our production space. Oh, did it not? Oh, something looks amiss here. Anyway, there's our production space in Central 1 and West 1. Oh, sorry, showing you the wrong thing. Derp. This is the problem when you have too many accounts running too many cloud things. Here we go. All right. So my Thrashing Code project, VPC networks, there's the development network, the 2 subnets, and the production network, and its respective 2 subnets. Oh, region West 1, West 1. I didn't want that in West 1. So need to do a fix. So here, what is it? Region There we go. Let's go east 1. Need to be specific about this. Because I set a default, it's sticking them all in that default with reference to my gcloud. Let's see here, region, east 1, region, west 1. All right. Now these I don't believe are destructive changes, so it should just say, oh, what did I do? 4 to destroy, 4 to, oh, it is destructive change. That's right. Even though it seems weird, if it's in West 1, why would it destroy it just to designate it's in West 1? Anyway, lesson learned, if you change the region, it is considered a destructive change even regardless of whatever. It's definitely a destructive change for where it says it's going to go, let's see here, west. Yeah, it says US West to East 1. That forces a new change. And then it says the ID forces a new change. That's weird. I don't know why the ID does. We had the ID the same. But anyway, it's all fine and dandy. We're going to apply that. And then yes. Probably good to note when you're doing this, if you're going to do a destructive change in something like a network, that's a big freaking deal. Because it's going to basically disable or destroy or just error out if you have a bunch of stuff in that particular region. So it's important to note, oh yeah, I need to specify the specific region. Let's hear one. Let's see, I'm going to look that up. Let me bring that around for you. All right, so console. Actually, let's look via the gcloud. Gcloud list region. There we go. Compute regions list. Okay, that should do it. Is it list regions? Is that what I just saw? Just read, whatever. Gcloud compute. You gotta be kidding me. I looked at it 4 seconds ago and then boom. Compute regions list. Oh, okay. My dyslexia turned it around there. So, oh, US East 1, US West 1. And then US West 1. All right. Yeah, Terraform doesn't exactly know what the names are for the regions, so it just lets you type them in wrong. Anyway, that fixes that. Gets us back on the right path. Okay. Progress. So we have our networks now. Now we can do something with some meat to it. Let's build some instances. I'm going to need a server or 3. Okay. I know I'm going to need some variables here. So I'm going to call it, what should I call it? Instance names, because I'm going to just kind of spit some out. This is going to be the names list. So type is map, and default. Just going to go ahead and give it some values here. We'll go with Z. What should I name them? What should I name them? Any ideas? Anybody got some ideas on names? Naming's hard, y'all. Let's call it Let's call this BNSF. We'll call this Norfolk Southern. And we'll call this one, well, actually, we don't need 3. Actually, let's do, yeah, those are the good railroads. Freight railroads, that is. If anybody knows their railroad nerdisms. All right, and then, okay, so I have that. Instance names, remember that. And I'm going to come back over here and set up a resource. Oops. For Google Compute instances. No. There it is. Instance. All right. How do I get the damn Google Compute? Oops. Compute. No? Okay, whatever. Trying to figure out how to get it to pop up. Ah, there we go. So then we can do Google Compute. If you hit enter, that's when it gives you all these good options. And then hit enter again, and that gives you the properties auto-populated. And let's see your tab. No? Yeah, okay. So you type resource, enter, that'll give you the correct skeleton code, and then start to put in your various resource you want, like Google Compute instance, and it'll pop that up with the pertinent not default, but properties that you have to, your requisite properties. Oh, I can't talk today. So I'm just going to call this default servers, and then boot disk. Oh, what is my boot disk? Initialize params, and then I need to do an image. Come back to that in a second. Machine type. What is my machine type? I want something that's, so there's like N1 standard one, I believe is what it is, or one of them is. We can also go down and say G-Cloud compute instances list, I think. No, it's not. It's G-Cloud compute list instances. Of course, right? Of course, it's got to be non-cooperative. Bah, ha, ha, ha. Let's just do G-Cloud compute instance list. Isn't that what I just typed? Damn it. G-Cloud compute instances list. I swear that was what I just typed. G-Cloud instances list. No, that's the doc. G-Cloud compute instances list. That's weird. Usually that gives you the whole list of everything. Weird. Is my G-Cloud init? Oh, yeah. So let me set this back up real quick. I'm going to reinitialize it, and that's going to take me just a second. Is it tripping on that? Well, anyway, while that's sitting there tripping out, I'm going to give these a name. So that map that I just created, what I want to do is be able to actually step through that. And the way that works is I'm going to do a lookup on the variable of the instance names map. And then in that, I'm going to give it the index, like so. So that'll actually enable it to step through the map and pick the one pertinent to which number index it's on that it's creating of this particular instance. And then let's see, your network interface is basically, I want to give it to a subnetwork, which will be a variable that points to, let's put it in dev west 1. It's going to be one of our first work instances. And then I'll give it the ID. It's a little confusing here. Like here, the network is self-link reference. Here, the subnetwork needs to be the ID. because this resource, a compute instance, just uses the ID to link back to the network or subnetwork that it's in. But I know that can be a little confusing. It's one of those things you have to know that's pertinent to the particular cloud provider. All right. So I think that's all I need for that. I don't want these down here. I want these up at the top. Yeah, like that. Okay. And then, oh yeah, the key thing, because I want multiple, I'm going to add the sometimes not talked about very often count property. And I'm going to give it, how many variables did I add? I just did 2, right? Yes, I only have 2, so we only want to step through 2 times. One for each railroad. Each railroad gets a server. There we go. This thing did something. Reachability check failed? That's super weird. Oh, weird. That's what's flaking out with G-Cloud. Whatever. Terraform's working, so probably need to do a G-Cloud update. What is that? So, oh, that's my G-Cloud update. Components update, maybe. Updates the installed. I don't want to update the components. How about update G-Cloud? Yeah, whatever. G-Cloud components update. G-Cloud version. G-Cloud update. No, whatever. Everything's got to have a different damn word to it. All right, so anyway, we got our networks. We got our instance here. There's going to be 2 instances created, and I want it to use a particular image. And I'm going to go find the image options that I have now. Actually, let's, there we go, yep. So if you go to compute instances and then you look at images, where's images? Disks. Disks are images, no? Why did you, oh, images are images. There we go. So these are the names. Says what they're created by, basically their creation date. The creation date is pertinent to, actually I don't know what it's pertinent to. It used to be that it was pertinent to, oh, when it's added to your particular little project profile here. So as you can see, I've had these added over time or updated or whatever. Shows the base image size, other pertinent stuff. So what I want right now though is, Debian 9 TF. Stretch. Maybe I don't want a Debian. Maybe I want a something else. Oh, 2. There's another list. Oh, there's the Ubuntu's. I'm going to actually do an Ubuntu. So I want that one. And per project, like these identifier version numbers can change because like I said, this date is pertinent to when it's popped into your account or whatever. So if you're using 1 and 1, you need to look up the same thing for whatever else you put it in. So I'm going to go with Bionic. Toss that in there. And what else do I need? So I get the name, count, machine type. I think that's it. So let's plan it. Hey, look at there. I'm doing pretty good. I have all this bloody stuff memorized. So 2 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. Let's look back through and see what it says. Name Norfolk Southern. Oh, and it actually lists out each one individually. So it'll be BNSF and Norfolk Southern that get added. So let's do Terraform apply. See how fast we can get these servers up. Go back to VM instances. Should show it running here in just a second or 2. Yeah, there we go. Woo. Yes, no, maybe. I'm gonna go back and look at the progress. Oh, didn't type yes. I was gonna say this is usually done a billion times faster. Oh, what does this say? Google Compute cannot determine zone set in this resource or set provider level zone. Zone? Makes me think like it doesn't know. Barbecue ponies. All right, I'm thinking. Let's see here. What else do I need here? Need. Oh. Zone. Yeah, zone. Zone. Why is this not? Nah, whatever. It's zone. Then the US West one. And then it's particular to the zone you want to put it in. There's 3 per region, I think. So it'll be like A. Or let's put it in B. Because this one is going to go, yes, into the West networks here. That should work. I guess by default it doesn't need a zone because it would just toss your stuff in a zone if you hadn't set up all the zones and networks like we did. So since there is stuff beside the default one, it doesn't know which one to put it in. And I've designated, of course, like subnetwork below. So you need to have the zone to go to within the subnetwork. All right, that's progress. Now we're getting somewhere. 2 added. And if I refresh this, we should see 2 servers. Here we go, BNSF, Norfolk Southern. So 10.1.3 and delete boot disk when done. Okay, cool beans. All right, now it's all fine and dandy that I've made progress here. I'm gonna actually destroy this stuff. Bah. Wait, did it? Oh, it didn't display my yes, but I guess I got it. Whatever. So it's destroying that. Oh, I just there is another thing here. I need to add the service accounts, or else these things will be moderately unusable. Oh, look there, it adds the scopes. That's nice. Find out new stuff about this all the time. So there's user info, email. Compute something. I'll think of it in a second. And then storage. I think it's R and O. Right? I don't know. Find out in a second. Because then I'm going to do Terraform, apply, and let it put that back. Now, one of the things I like to do too is set myself up a folder, which we'll say, we'll just call it state for now. And in it is going to be another little project that's going to have a bash script. Let's call it setup state. Then another Terraform file, state.tf. And then what we're going to do is actually set up something to manage our state so that we can have multiple developers working against this repo. So in here, I'm going to need the Google. We're going to put it in a, what do you call it? Just the blob storage thing, whatever Google calls theirs. Credentials will be basically, and here we're going back 2 levels to our secret word or secret security file. And project, same one, thrashing code, and then region equals let's do West 1 again. And that should build us a little state thing to put our state in, or connection for our state thing. And then to actually put the state in it, we'll need resource. Come back here. Resource, then Google storage. Oh, bucket. They just call it a storage bucket. That's cool. Whatever. I'm gonna call it state storage place. And then we'll give it a name. Whoops. The name is state storage space, whatever, space place. And then location is going to be the US. I remember that because I've broken it about 8 billion times. Can't remember the name of the resource, but I remember a lot of the properties. So let's keep building that thing to confirm our, basically that's building, if you recall, I ran the added the service accounts and then just ran it. So it looks like I probably got those right. All right, and here, well, I'll need that CLI back in a minute, IntelliJ. So this stuff is good. Close variable here. Let's see here, state. Oh yeah, this. Yeah, actually I don't, I'll use that script to do something in a minute. And then here in connections. Come on, finish building, hurry up. Almost done. Tick tock, come on. It's weird how sometimes it's just absurdly long and then sometimes it's quick as blazes. Yeah, just open Slack. It's going slow too. All my networks hate me right now, I guess. God, come on, Google. Build already. Something must be amiss in that region realm stuff. Because I would do the next step, but I can't just add state management while it's in the midst of doing stuff. There we go. Okay, everything looks fine and dandy. So 8 added. And then I'm going to actually go here and say Terraform destroy and give myself a clean slate within the Google projects or Google project that I'm working in. So that'll destroy. And then, oh yeah, we're done looking at that. Where is, oh, I thought I had the console open still, but I didn't. always like to go in here to kind of make sure that I've actually wiped stuff out. And it looks like I did. No, maybe not. It's not gone yet. So as soon as the networks are gone and the instances are gone, we should be good to go. I guess that might be taking 50,000 minutes too. Still destroying. So weird. It's going so slow. It's usually so fast. Oh, there. At least it shows it's terminating. The little thing. Yeah, it says it's stopped and in the process of terminating. One of the nice things about Google's interface versus like AWS is if you ever terminate instances, they just sit there for forever. It's hard to tell like how long they're going to sit there, which can pose naming conflicts or whatever in the interim. Sure, that's, you know, you can work around that. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just nice to have things cleanly done, kind of almost on like a transactional basis, where when you delete something, it actually deletes, right? I mean, that's just nice. It's clean. It's easy. You know exactly what you got. Nothing crazy going on. Well, you can see here the nutty. I guess one network is just really hanging on. That subnet west just doesn't want to go. It's still trying though. Oh, I know why it's taking a long time. It's because I'm actually showing y'all how I'm doing this. That's why it's taking a long time. Why else would it take a long time? When I'm just working on it, it takes like 15 seconds to do this junk. Oh well. At least it's providing a good example of how things take bloody forever sometimes. So, oh well. Where is... Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, as soon as this finishes in 50 billion minutes, is add that state, which really shouldn't be a big deal. Actually, I just thought of something. I can totally multi-thread this sucker. Go into codes. Then go into cloud. No, wait, I called it goo cloud. And then I can go into the state directory. And in there's those 2 bits. And I need to run Terraform plan. Oh, Terraform init. What does it say? Configure. Oh, I got a configuration error wrong. Or error issue thing wrong. It's parse error 1.8. Expected expression, but found dot. State.tf. Oh, is it? Too many. No, don't take out all the quotes. Autocomplete kicks me in the face. Is it this way? So then I have these. It doesn't seem right. What am I doing wrong here? No, it's just, I'm not seeing what I'm doing here. So file, and then open close parens, and then do I need to do this in it? Dot, and then account dot JSON, like so. Is that gonna make it work? That's weird. Well, it seems to, okay, now it's happy. Let's try init again. All right, there it goes. Grabs Google provider. And then we want to do a plan. See what it'll give us. Yes, please. Give me the state. And then yes. Now, you need to do this outside, kind of like a separate phase from the core regular execution of Terraform stuff, because you need this to exist outside of that workflow phase. That's why I've put it in a directory. It's all by itself. Kind of like you could just have your own Terraform state management project unto itself that just builds out all these initial state pieces. And the reason you can't do it dynamically, which you can with bash scripts and stuff, going through and doing multi-phase Terraform execution, but in this particular situation, you can't just pass in variables to tell your core project, the one that's building these instances and network and stuff for me. You can't tell it, I'm trying to think of the variable name or what they call it, but you can't interpolate a variable into where we're going to add where the state managed location is here. So you have to build it separately, which I believe it's, where'd my terminal, there's my terminal. So it says one add, so let's go ahead and add this. Oops, apply. There we go. Super crazy fast, of course, right? So let's go look at it just to see it in the UI. There it is. So it is ready for use. Nothing is in it. What is still development network? Still destroying. You know what? You're being crazy. Just, yeah. It would probably finish, but I don't even care right now. I'm going to go in here and just look. Okay, nothing in these. I'm going to wipe out. Oh, it's just stuck on the networks. There's nothing even in the networks. Something flaky was going on. So we're going to wipe out these two so that we have a nice clean slate. All right, those will be done in, an hour or whatever it decides to do. I don't really need to be anywhere particular here. Oh, actually, we want to go look at storage, browser. There's our thing, and it's called state storage space place. Remember my goofy name. So then, now that it exists, I go into connection, and the other connection I'm going to want is the state management thing. So it's a Terraform specific resource or whatever they call that. There we go. And then back in GCS. Oh, stuff to remember. So there's project, right? Thrashing code. And then there's the bucket I have to point it to, which is the name. What do I call it? All the things storage. No, that's the other bucket that I was using in a different project. It's crap. I forgot. All right, time to look at the UI. State storage space place. State storage space. Wait, space. Yeah, space place. I would name it something weird. Then let's see. The prefix for the state save path is going to be. I'll just do Terraform state stuff. I need the credentials for that to get it mapped up and everything. Count.json. See, like right here, this is a perfect example of, this part, the credentials here, and then there's credentials above. And I can't interpolate variables here because it's the provider and the Terraform backend. This would be a really useful place, though, to have variables, but because of the dynamic nature and something like that ain't how it works. I'm not 100% sure why we couldn't, but it seems like there ought to be a way to do this, or some type of at least connection-specific variables, because there's redundancy here. Doesn't need to be redundancy. Like I should be able to get a variable for the project and blah blah blah. All right, so that should work. Let's do Terraform plan. All right, it needs a Terraform init again. The reason it needs a Terraform init, even though I have the provider up here in the Terraform directory, the reason it needs a init is because this was just the init that got the plugin for Google. But it needs to now set up the backend, as it's telling me, where the previous is some local junk, and now it's going to put the junk in the GCS trunk. So there we go. All right, now we're all initialized. And I don't know if you used Terraform before, but this is a lot nicer way to have this run than what was set up before. Because before you had to go and push your state up there and do some manual steps. And it was just a little weird, kind of broke your flow if you were getting into some really good progress with your project. You had to shift your state around. So anyway, we have our state now. I'm going to do Terraform plan. It should say, okay, your state's up there, da 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 da. There we go. It says 7 to add, 0 to change. So let's do Terraform apply and let that start creating. And just one more mention here, even though there's still a state file, yeah, just open it, dad burn it. And a backup. You'll notice the state's gone from here because it's in process. But the backup and all this junk, this is what is actually getting put out there in that shared state. So now I'm going to get that working, and we're going to go take a peek in this. Oh, did an error or something occur? Whatever. Anyway, you can see now there's already a Terraform folder, and there is state stuff. And in here, there's the lock file and the TF state for what's getting built right now. So it's pretty cool to be able to come and just look at it this way. You know, as I was saying, it's in the process of building this stuff. So there's going to be a lot more stuff here in just a minute. We'll come back to it. Let's go look and see what progress we have with the VMs. They're not there yet. The networks. There we go. Oh, we have some errors here. Is that maybe, let's check back with the Terraform execution. No, it says it's going. Something's going. It's really weird that it's going that slow with these specific items. So there we go. As that continues, I'm going to go over real quick and just kind of wrap up where we're at with stuff. So I added this state directory. We just added the state GCS location, the compute bucket storage, is autonomous of the overall project though. So I created it first, and then I could connect it via Terraform and init in the main project where I have these connections here for the Terraform backend and the provider. In here, I have two networks set up, one for development, one for production, with two respective subnets in each, one for East 1 and one for West 1. So I have something over on the East Coast and some on the West Coast. Then these Terraform states, the TF state files, are now up in the Google Cloud Storage GCS bucket thing. And I have variables to iterate through and use for creation of the instances. So right now I'm creating 2 instances. One day that'll theoretically be done. So in the next Terraform session that I do, I'm going to go on and continue from here. Add some more script files to automate some of this stuff and do the multi-phase Terraform development. And talk about some of the tips and tricks that I use just to make this easier and just to iterate on it on a regular basis. And I'll also move past this. We'll get into the realm of creating a cluster. And also on the next session, I'll go over creating a Kubernetes cluster, and we'll talk about getting some stuff into that Kubernetes cluster. We'll probably also nuke these instances and do largely the whole kit and caboodle inside the Kubernetes cluster. I'll show you more about automating the creation of that and the teardown of it so that you can have your state management in the right place. Your Kubernetes cluster can be automated, and you're basically running one script to set up your entire environment and one script to tear it all down. The entire point, though, which I'll talk about more in a blog entry and in subsequent Twitch streams, is the start of this, and what I'm going to show you is how to set up a development environment with minimal headache that you can literally start every morning and tear down every evening or multiple times throughout the day as you need that environment. So you're paying minimal to have it set up. You're not excessively using any type of resources whatsoever, and you can get it spooled up in just a few clicks of a button or a few script executions and have it there ready to develop against, and then you don't have all this junk sitting on a local machine, or you're not trying to do crazy local environments and all that kind of stuff. It just makes development a lot simpler whenever you're developing against large scale environments, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll have more on this real soon. As for now,